Hey guys, welcome to Sketch a Day. I'm really excited for today's video. We're gonna design some custom sunglasses for myself. I was contacted by a company, Banton Frameworks, and they offered to make me a custom pair of sunglasses. Well, eyewear specifically. I opted for sunglasses. Now, little known fact, I actually have a healthy obsession with sunglasses. Obviously, I don't wear them on the videos here on the channel, but when I'm out and about, I wear sunglasses quite often. Specifically, I like round sunglasses, and so I'm gonna try and design a pair for myself. We're gonna start on paper with markers, pens, and all that good stuff. But before we begin, I want you to hit that subscribe button. Definitely turn on alerts because tomorrow, Wednesday, I will be going live on the channel. You don't want to miss that. That's where we kind of sketch, hang out, and talk together, and I take your suggestions and see if I can work that into the show. So definitely hit subscribe and turn on those alerts. And come say hi on the socials. I am at sketchaday.com. I've got some marker paper here. This is just my Copic marker paper that I like to use. And like I mentioned, I like round sunglasses. Now, Banton was kind enough to provide a little bit of background information about sunglasses, the different parts of a pair of sunglasses, you know, what makes up these parts. So I'll be referring to this resource as I design these. As I'm not really a sunglass designer, I don't design sunglasses full time. So when I go into a new design project, I like to familiarize myself with that product before committing to drawing. So glasses have a few parts. We have the frame front, we have end pieces, bridge, lenses, temple screws, temple tips, and rivets. Also nose pads. A lot of this seems to be related to ergonomics. I'm gonna trust the experts at Banton Frameworks to make my pair fit me well. So I'm just gonna start with some round lenses here, and purpose of this is just gonna be thumbnailing out a few options. Typically I'll warm up by drawing circles, something like this. Now, like I said, I have a healthy obsession with round sunglasses, and I've been trying to find the perfect pair, but unfortunately, it seems that that's a little hard to do. But I'm just going to be playing with a couple ideas and we'll see what we can come up with here. Now, thumbnails for me are a great way to just quickly iterate through. And in doing this thumbnail activity, I'm able to just focus on the design direction at large. The frames are going to be acetate, and so my design activity is more along the lines of trying to figure out some interesting part breaks, elements, and so forth. I'm gonna push them a little bit, and we'll see if we can have something interesting and perhaps a bit distinctive as our glasses. When we get to that phase of manufacturing, I'll be sure to update you guys and show you what they're up to if I get any images of my shades in progress. So I've grabbed a few markers to kind of help me make some color blocks. So something like this where it's fairly two-dimensional. I feel like it's kind of easy to start working on that form. Now the lens piece itself, I'm just going to use gray or blue or some colors like that to kind of help block that out. Maybe this one has the metal accent right at the hinge where the rivets are located. The nose pads and everything else. We could even use something like a brown acetate here. So nice juicy brown brush. And I'm just going to go ahead. And as I'm doing this, I'm actually not only thinking of the design, but all those things that I talk about on the channel, the light source, directionality, and so forth. Now we had this concept where I had a little bit of brown acetate or wood even. So just continuing to shade these in, and we'll start to do some perspective concepts when I feel confident, or more confident rather, about the direction. Similar thing, think about the light source, even though it's a thumbnail sketch and we're not doing a full rendering, leaving those little white spots is gonna help keep the presentation a bit fresh. So once I pick the direction, we're gonna have to kind of see what these look like in perspective and perhaps sketch some of the details. Just for the sake of having some fun, I'm gonna shade in a couple of these. Just keep going, you know, keep iterating on that idea. If this were a more expansive project, I would do probably hundreds of these thumbnails. But I kind of came into this with a general idea of what I want, just a nice thick rimmed, simple pair of shades. And like I mentioned, they have these signature rivets that are a part of the glasses, so I'll throw those in. Maybe these even have clear frames, or clear arms rather. That would be interesting if there was a clear arm to this pair. And if this were a presentation page of sorts, then I could add a background to connect ideas that perhaps are related. However, in this presentation, everything's kind of related because I am focusing on a round lens. I kind of like this kind of relationship here. I'm not terribly sure or certain on the ergonomics just yet. You know, this may have to move up or down, but I'll trust the experts there. And I'll go with something in this area here. Now to draw these in perspective, if you just draw 3 lines like so, 2 lines down, you're most of the way there, because now I can start to draw my ellipses like so. Geometrically speaking, this is not entirely accurate because the front of my glasses may curve ever so slightly. So on the next sketch here, we can kind of do that. But sketching this in perspective allows me to think through perhaps some of the details that I'm proposing for these glasses. Now, one thing I'm not entirely sure about is whether or not these have to be a consistent material for the frame themselves or not. But again, I'm going to trust the experts there. They're going to give me some feedback, and perhaps I can give you guys a report as to the manufacture of these. So that being said, I think we're off to a good start, and I'm going to continue iterating on these ideas. And I think even with some of the technical considerations of the part makeup, I'm going to lean on their expertise to give me some recommendations and see what we can come up with that works. I always try to dream big or bigger when I'm designing something and really just challenge the status quo a bit. So hopefully these aren't too crazy in terms of the manufacturability, but I'll find out real quick here. So continuing, we have our initial concept, and like I said, if these are slightly, ever so slightly curved, then I may have my ellipses looking something more like this. If there's a top-down view, for example, something like this. And all right, some quick lines. And for each of these, I'm going to iterate slightly, as well as sketch in some details. There's some things I feel like I need to work out in these sketches. Now, like I mentioned, this could all theoretically be one material. So let's take a look at what that might look like. Just using this neutral gray marker, I'll shade this all in, just like so. The bridge, the frame, the end pieces, and the arms. And again, assuming this is all one finish, all one material for these sunglasses, perhaps we could do a bit of lamination. Maybe there's a dark light combination that could happen. So the front of the frame here potentially could be a darker acetate, for example, than the back portion of the frame. And maybe that lamination process could give a bit of the differentiation I'm after with that material break. At the same time, I don't particularly like busy sunglasses, so I like to keep them fairly simple and clean and pure in their geometric appearance. Since we are sketching in a dark marker, I'm going to use a little white here to indicate these rivets I've been talking about, as well as perhaps some of the reflectivity of the acetate frame. So I know these are shades, but I don't want to go too dark with the lenses and have them really detract from what's happening here. I'll save that for when I do a digital rendering of me wearing the glasses. That's going to be our second video, where I want to try and get a fit or an idea of how these glasses might fit on my face rather. So just continuing here, maybe just for kicks, we can play with a color for the frames. Let's say this red, for example. Red would be really interesting. Unfortunately, I think I'm only getting one set of these, so I've got to make sure whatever I pick is going to be the most flexible design, and so it's probably why I'm leaning more towards a black. Go ahead and just shade in the lenses, and that should help with the overall contrast and presentation, and perhaps give a better sense of what this pair might look like. Alright, so shading this in with a neutral gray 6. This is an Ohuhu marker. I did that review yesterday, so check that out and you'll be able to see my thoughts there. They're pretty decent utility marker if that's something you're interested in. Okay, so kind of have an idea of what a red frame might look like. I also want to take a look at the more explicit material break and a few details. So we'll do a couple more pages like this. And I'm just fudging the hinge here, Jamie, if you're watching, so understand that I'm okay if this changes. But I wonder what that would be like if there was just some interesting connection point here. You know, what if? So from the side, you might have, if this is the lens, you might have this arm just sticking forward ever so slightly, creating some sort of distinct hinge thing, just like this. That'd be pretty cool. But I'm also wondering, okay, if my eyeball is here, how is this going to affect my field of view? So that when I send these sketches over, I'll remember what I need to talk about with Jamie and the team at Banton. So 2 circles here, and I'm gonna add that transition that I had, or hinge, and we gotta make sure we get those rivets. I'm not gonna sketch the rest of the arms in, and maybe this bridge is a piece of metal or wood, geometric, and my kind of style, distinctive. So here, instead of putting the color on this portion, I'm gonna just drag out with an arrow and create a few swatches just to imagine what this potentially could look like. And remember, this is where the lens will be. So I'm wondering if we could have wood, or maybe it's some sort of metal or plastic. Okay, so we have wood, maybe aluminum or stainless. Stainless would be my preference, or even copper. Not real copper, but something with a copper-like finish. Plastic. And I'll just put colored, meaning we'd have some sort of colored, and really not plastic, but acetate. That's what these glasses are made of. Again, I'm just not entirely sure of the lamination process, if that's possible. If not, we could go with a simple appearance and it would be just fine. So a little gray here just to show the material. For the wood, I'm gonna do the same thing. Just kind of shade this in like so. Maybe add a couple of streaks. Wood is my first, metal is my second, and some sort of acetate. Plastic would be my third option on this lens. And to group this all together, we can add a background that intersects a bunch of this stuff. So now this collection of sketches here is almost like a module or a little group that we can say is related or associated with each other. I am using a papermate flair, so really all I have to do is hit the line a couple times, push a little harder, and now I have some additional line weight there on these shades. All right, I think we're looking pretty good. I really like this direction, so I'm gonna roll with it, and let's do like a final sketch that we can call a presentation sketch. And I'm gonna use markers again, pencils, all that good stuff to make it tight, make it nice. Well, that's part 1 of our series here where I design eyewear for myself. Special shout out and thanks to Banton Frameworks. I've put their link in the video description and you can check that out. Also, be sure to say hi on the socials. I am at sketchaday.com. You can visit sketchaday.com right now because I just released my new pack of Procreate brushes. There are 30 brushes in the pack. My first pack was 7. This one's 30. More on that soon because we're gonna keep going. And also, if you learned something from this video, please share, subscribe, like, and turn on alerts because we go live here on Sketchaday 3, sometimes 4 times a week, and you don't want to miss out on the opportunity to draw with me and chat and hang out. Well, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on Sketchaday.